Okay, we'll call the Public Works Planning Committee to order. I'm gonna ask, Mr. Brad Turner, would he, mind saying a prayer?
Sure, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you again, Lord, for the privilege that we've been afforded to represent our citizens. Lord, ask that we uphold their trust this evening, Lord, and that we discuss the information with clarity, Lord, and that we listen to each one of the reports tonight, Lord, and able to digest that information and be able to serve our constituents better. Be with the families that are represented here tonight, Lord, and those that are watching at home. Ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Okay, David, I don't think he's gonna be here. Undoubtedly, he left all the information. You've got approved minutes for last meeting.
So moved,
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What we'll do, we'll just skip down to the landfill, and if he don't show up, we'll do it last.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are y'all doing?
Good.
Fine.
We got a whole stack of stuff. Y'all want to be here all night? You don't? Darn. Everything. There's some landfill reports. Everything's kind of slow right now. The economy's just a little bit off, and then trash is just slow. Normally in the,
Matt, do you have another one? This is a blank one.
I didn't want you to know what was going on. But normally this time of year is a little slow for all the industry stuff as well. So it's just coming in a little bit on the slow side. And then on the convenience center side, it's slow as well.
You can recycle all that blank paper.
We'll take it back and run it back through the printer. You got, everybody got one?
Yes.
The convenience center is running slow as well. Recycling is actually doing pretty good. We're running some numbers on our single stream. It depends on how, if you want to be positive or negative. And I'll look at it from a positive light. From the school standpoint, the only way we can do it is by tons. You know, the amount of tons that we normally pick up versus the amount of tons we are picking up. Last year, the single stream program generated 0.04% recycle of the total volume. And that's not a very big number, but you got to remember we just started with it last year. This year, so far, we've generated 0.09%, which is still not a big number, but it's actually double from last year. And then we're doing trash audits this week, looking at what's in the containers, and then we'll touch base with the schools to give them some little advice on how they can improve what they're doing. But they're doing good. They're doing really well.
Are we looking at in the future possibly doing this county-wide to where residents can do single stream in their homes, or is that not something that we can do on a large scale?
Something that we've really not looked into. To do it at your home and have curbside collection is an expensive process. The convenience center process, the way we're doing it now, is actually cheaper than picking it up from the home.
But not necessarily picking it up from the home, but where residents could take it into the convenience centers as single stream.
We've looked at the possibility. The downside to doing that is you have it all in one load, and you can probably put it in a compactor. But we've spent in the neighborhood of $200,000 to buy containers to keep it separated. So if we went single stream, then we'd have a lot of containers that we couldn't do anything with. The value of the commodity is actually better when it's separated. Any other questions on the convenience center or the landfill?
I figured with the storm, the hailstorm, shingles will become a little bit more plentiful, I guess.
I don't think the people have actually started getting them repaired yet.
Right.
I think the insurance companies are still dealing with the people, and that process has not gotten into the construction phase.
Okay.
And once we get there, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure we'll pick up a little bit there. And then last week, talked with the mayor and the city of Laverne. Used to we had 4 unmanned sites throughout the county. Now we only have 2. And then we do the electronics collection on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, that man that takes care of the sites also does the electronics collection. So he's got a little time in his day. And we looked at adding another day of service at Haley Road. my fear is if we do that, all we're gonna do is have the same number of customers spread out over 3 days instead of 2. So I approached the city of Laverne and asked them if they would find a location for us to set up. We'll spot a trailer up there, our people will man it, and we'll actually collect our electronics in Laverne 1 day a week.
Nice.
And we think by doing that, we'll get a different group of clientele. And I talked with Steve Mayer just last night. They're on board with it and probably going to set up at the senior citizen place there. You know, so that's something we're working toward in the
That's
future.
awesome.
What about Smyrna's?
Smyrna,
You looked at anything there?
no, not yet, but we can
That's
add
reason
1
I-
day right now to what we
The
think is
reason I was
just
saying it's one of the largest where stuff comes in.
at the convenience center.
Yeah.
We don't want to do it at the convenience center because we'll only actually do the electronics 1 day.
You scared they'll get mixed up.
Mhm.
I
So,
think.
and I can see their argument would be, you do it here on Thursdays, I'm here on Tuesday, why can't I just go ahead and leave it today? And we're not set up for that, so we'll do it on a different day at a different location. Any other questions? This is something that has to go through all the processes.
Need a motion to approve.
It's actually a lease for the Sand Hill Convenience Center.
Let's get a motion to prove what we've done got so far.
Make a motion to approve.
Reports.
Second.
Landfill and convenience center.
Anybody got any questions on the report, Trey? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead.
Okay. We actually leased the convenience center from the city of Laverne, and it's a 10-year agreement for $1. So it's 10 cents a year. And the lease comes up in March, so we've got plenty of time to go through this process. But they have agreed to extend the lease for another 10 years at the same price.
Awesome.
You know, so just need to we'll run this through our property management and budget, and then finally to the county commission.
Wish Peace Street is lenient.
I actually thought we owned that until this lease came up. I thought it was ours, but it's not.
Okay, let's get a motion on this, lease contract then.
Make a motion that we approve the leases presented.
Second.
Any questions on the lease? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I've got the originals in my office.
You can give those to Vicki.
Okay. But if y'all not gonna take these home and read them or anything, if you would, hang on to them, that way we won't have to recopy them for the other committees. We'll save a tree. That's all I have.
Anybody got any questions about anything else on the, well, we got, Mac here on
On the spot.
convenience, landfill, anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, planning.
Good evening, Commissioners. Prior to the meeting, I handed out the subdivision lot inventory. Not a whole lot to report this month. No new recorded major plats or anything. Our total available lots versus this time last year is down about a little over 200. You can see that from this time to 2010, it was 1,613. Now we're down to 1,403. Still quite a few lots out there, but it is starting to go down just a little bit. We are starting to see a little bit of a downward trend there in the available lots. But again, as far as any real new activity, nothing really to speak of. So if you have any questions on that, I'll be more than happy to talk about that. But if not, I'll go ahead and move on to our zoning case. We just have one zoning case coming before you next week. This is a piece of property located along Almaville Road. It's a piece of property currently contains a house and a garage where farming equipment is stored. There's no previous zoning applications for this particular property, so this is the first one, and the surrounding area is predominantly residential. The applicants would like to they basically start a wine production facility on the property, eventually make it a winery, health spa on the property, small bistro, those kind of things. First thing he would do would be to actually build the wine production facility, which would be proposed at this point next year. The process, the 12 acres of grapes he currently has planted on the property. In 2014, the winery, which would contain a tasting room, gift shop, bistro, would be added to the property. His hours of operation would be from 12:30 to 8 o'clock, 7 days a week. He states that the wine production facility will have a large cellar and be constructed of cinder blocks. One of the issues we had with the application when it was first submitted was the appearance of the property and the buildings on it. We relayed that to the applicant. He has submitted some proposed architectural, basically some examples of what the property would, the buildings would look like on the property. Those are included in your handout. Also, one of the conditions that was placed on this by the Planning Commission was that the site has to meet all the standards of the Smyrna Design Review Manual, since this is within Smyrna's urban growth boundary. There was some discussion at the meeting regarding the traffic along Almaville Road. When we looked at the traffic count map, we saw that on one end, closest to Smyrna, these traffic counts were about, let me see where that, 14,700 vehicles a day, whereas on the far end of Almaville Road toward Burnt Knob, it was about 3,800. So that's a pretty wide disparity right there. So we put our traffic counter in front of the property, and we saw that there was about 5,500 vehicles a day in that area. At the meeting, I believe it was Commissioner Sandlin had asked about some proposed traffic improvements to Morton Lane and Almaville Road because of the schools. That particular project is actually being added to the Metropolitan Planning Organization's current transportation improvement program, where funding has been identified for it and is being allocated. It's currently making its way through the amendment process to be, it wasn't in the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Plan currently, but it's moving through that process now. It's gone through the first phase of that. I don't see any reason why that shouldn't continue moving forward. So that is something, again, that funding has been identified for, and according to the sheet that was provided through the MPO, it looks like they have a 2012 time frame for that improvement. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. There wasn't really a lot of discussion about this at the Planning Commission. We did receive a few phone calls. There was some media coverage on this through the D&J and some of the national media outlets. But when it came to the meeting, nobody was there to speak one way or another. We did receive, again, some phone calls, and there was a letter, I believe, that was distributed at the Planning Commission that we'll make sure you'll see at the County Commission meeting as well. But again, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. The Planning Commission did unanimously vote to recommend approval of the project. So.
They say anything about how many employees they might be hiring?
I don't think that really was discussed.
From what I had heard you mention was somewhere between 20 and 30 was what his goal was.
I mean, maybe
full operation.
Full operation.
Full
Full,
operation,
right,
not a
right.
mean, but once he's up and running, there'll be 30.
Yeah, some of
30 on the line.
the things we like about the project, of course, a large part of the property is going to remain open, agricultural, just because, and he's got the grapes out there now. We went out there and looked at the property, and they're growing. I mean, they're probably not now because of the weather, but and he plans eventually to plant more out there, so that leaves the property in a more natural state. Of course, some of the other concerns we had, besides just the aesthetics of the buildings themselves, of course, had to do with the lighting of the property, the landscaping, those kind of things. And under our current regulations, even those are things that he'll have to do. Even if this is approved, he'll have to submit site plans for Planning Commission approval and everything. He just won't be able to start operating. He can continue to grow the grapes. That's not really an issue. It's all the buildings and everything along with it that will have to go through Planning Commission review.
There were a couple of points that he made that I thought were interesting, that it's going to be an organic facility. And so I thought that was interesting just from a marketing standpoint, because I always worry about, the viability of a project of this size. And then we also asked if they were going to be importing any grapes to be developing the, other wines there.
Mhm.
And they said, no, everything would be on site. And so that also affects traffic and trucks and that kind of thing. So I thought those were good points in favor of the project.
Rutherford County.
Homegrown Rutherford County, yeah.
Gracious, that's good.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to
Approve the report.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
So she needs that copy
Oh.
of the report.
I didn't get a report. I got that one. I
You didn't?
Your other one.
Oh, this one. Oh, I'm sorry, you just have that. I think it's pretty old.
Thank you.
Just what, if I could just address the committee just briefly regarding, we had our community meetings for our zoning ordinance update and map update. We had 4 meetings last month. One of them at, make sure I got all my locations right. We had one at Whitworth Buchanan Middle School. We had one at Oakland Middle School, one at Rockville Middle School, and we had one up at Smyrna Town Center. Of course, we did have people at each of them. We didn't have just a very large turnout. Of course, I always hope we get more people than we do at these kind of meetings. But those who did, there were questions. People had some questions and concerns. But, I think that, the word, we did as much as we could to get the word out for these meetings. So we're still on track at this point to have a revised draft of the document and the map for the Planning Commission at this coming Monday. And then we'll have that on the internet as well for everybody to view, and then still have our first public hearing on it in December at the Planning Commission. So that's kind of where we are with it right now. So if you have questions, the documents are currently online. Again, the drafts, we'll put the revised drafts up there next week when after we have the Planning Commission. So if you ever have questions about it, please feel free to call. I'll be happy to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, don't look like David's gonna be here. Everybody's got a copy of the planning report. You see the number of inspections on each one there. On the back of the report shows you permits that was issued in October. November. Well, he just October. Up to October there. Like 146.
Looks like our collections was at
Yeah, that is what, that's good.
almost $15,000.
And then the other report is zoning enforcement. Looks like it went down in the numbers from in October versus September. 490 to 340. Total so far this year is 3159. Okay, anybody got any questions on David's report?
Make a motion to approve the report as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On the highway report, the first item there is drainage easement. River Oak, lot 65 and 66, that's one easement, that's, that River Oak Drive is off of Suffolk Springs Road. Do you know where that is? So, Highway Department made a motion to approve these drainage easements to be accepted, so I'll need a motion on that.
So moved, Mr. Clerk.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the second one is, budget amendment. On state aid, programs. And, you can see the figures there, $570,000. Then on the back here, you see, the state aid they done was Old Woodbury Road from a county line to the city limits, and the old Nashville Highway, whether you've been down it or not, but they done it from Smyrna city limits all the way to Muffinsburg city limits through the park and everything, with shoulders on, striped and everything. So both those jobs is complete, and they had to make these amendments to pay those bills. So that's what that is. Anybody got any questions?
I'll make a motion, we approve the budget amendment.
Second.
Have to call the roll on this.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Black? Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Aye. Anybody got any other business? Not, I'll move with adjourn then.